Hello and welcome to the Z-Man Show, where I gotta do one quick thing and then we could start. Oh, thank God. Welcome to a new year. A year of hope. A year of dreams. A year of video games. Seriously, if you thought last year was a banger for video games, 2021 has a lot in store for you. This is honestly the first year that I'm kind of upset that I'm limited to only choosing 5 games for this list, because I could have easily filled out a top 10 with some of the stuff that we've got in the pipeline for 2021. But alas, I am a man of my principles, and since there were only 5 games on the Game of the Year list for last year, I'm sticking with only 5 games for my most anticipated list as well. Of course, there are the regular ground rules. They have to be games that are announced officially to be coming out in 2021, which means no matter how much I believe that the game's coming out this next year, if it hasn't been officially talked about somewhere, I can't use it. Which also means that no matter how much I don't believe that the game's going to come out in 2021, I have to consider it for this list. No More Heroes 3, Psychonauts 2. Secondly, these games are not ranked in terms of how much I'm anticipating them, but rather what their expected release date is. That way, you guys can't make fun of me when my most anticipated game falls flat on its face.
Hey, I said I'm sorry!
And of course, this list is not going to be all-inclusive, since I only know about the games that I know about. So please, hop down into the comments, tell me what games you're most excited for that maybe I don't realize I need to play. And, you know, do the subscribe, do the bell icon thing as well. Look, I've got a New Year's resolution to get this channel to 500 subs by the end of the year, so that means I need to pick up the pace. And so without further ado, let's get way too hyped for games that we don't actually know anything about. These are my top 5 most anticipated games for 2021.
Number 5.
If you watched my top 5 games of 2020 video, you'd know that Persona 5 Royal was almost my game of the year. So naturally, a game that has a subtle nod to being considered Persona 5 2 is going to be up there on my hype list. Persona 5 Strikers continues the long legacy of Omega Force, taking someone else's IP and adapting it into the Dynasty Warriors format to great success. The most notable examples I've played being the excellent Hyrule Warriors and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Based on the demo of the Japanese version of the game that I played, Strikers appears to continue that legacy. Strikers continues on after the events of Persona 5, with the entire gang meeting up for a summer road trip, only to find a whole new set of bad guys utilizing shadows to take people's desires. The gameplay is incredibly fun. It's easy to see that Omega Force are big fans of the Persona series with the way they've adapted the Persona mechanics into their big fights. That's not to mention that all the voice actors are back, the remix music sounds amazing, and it runs buttery smooth, even on Nintendo Switch, which is more than we can say about other Dynasty Warriors spin-offs. As long as you can go into this game knowing and accepting that it's going to be more of a Dynasty Warriors game than a Persona 5 game in terms of gameplay, then I think you're going to enjoy the experience when it comes out this February.
Number 4.
We'll probably not get a prize. Oh my God, it's Ratchet! Yeah, I might be a bit excited for this game. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is set up to be the next big PS5 exclusive, looking to utilize all that the system has to offer with a 60 FPS mode and a ray tracing 4K mode. And that's not to mention the titular rifts that are obviously meant to show off the extremely quick SSD that's able to switch between different worlds in nearly an instant. And sure, all of that's definitely to be excited for, but why I'm excited is because Insomniac is making another Ratchet & Clank game. 2016's Ratchet & Clank remake was a fantastic game, and the series in general has always been fun to play, from the originals on PS2 through the future series on PS3. And with Insomniac coming off the highs of both 2018's Spider-Man and 2020's Miles Morales, it's hard not to anticipate that Rift Apart won't continue to seize upon that momentum. And of course, the game looks fun. Granted, we've only seen one level, but even then, the weapons they've shown so far are as creative as they are destructive. And the Rift gameplay looks as though it'll be a fun way to zip around the battlefield, laying waste to your enemies. I can't wait to get into this game once it comes out in 2021.
Number 3.
I feel like I already know what I'm going to get with Horizon Forbidden West from a gameplay standpoint, and that's likely more of the same. And honestly, for me, that's fine. I loved the combat of Horizon Zero Dawn, from hunting down monstrous robots for parts to straight up noping away from robots I was legitimately scared of. What I'm really excited for, though, is to see how Guerrilla Games plans to improve upon their game's world. About 2/3 of the way through Horizon Zero Dawn, there was a major revelation to the plot, and I'm not quite sure how they plan to top it. Not to mention how they plan to overhaul their open world. Are we going to see them take some notes from a game like Breath of the Wild and open the game up? Or are we going to see more of the same traditional open world exploration? Then of course there's the characters themselves that do have room for improvement. Hopefully we get to better understand Aloy as a character as she struggles with the ramifications of the last game. And of course, the threat that the people she trusted in the last game will prove to be in this one. Unfortunately, in my opinion, this game has already been confirmed to be playable on PS4, which means that we likely won't be getting the big generational leap that I was hoping for. But getting back to that gameplay loop and finding new mechanical monstrosities is something I'm extremely excited to do.
Number 2.
Nobody actually expects this game to come out in 2021, right? I mean, the last game came out in 2018, and building the sequel to what is, in my opinion, the best game on PlayStation 4 would surely take longer than 3 years, right? Well, I made the rules, so we have to go under the assumption that we will be getting God of War Ragnarok sometime in 2021. And of course, if we did, I'd be so ready for it! God of War 2018 is one of the few games I consider to be a 10 out of 10. From the gameplay, to the visuals, to the writing, to the characters, there's almost nothing I didn't like from that game, except maybe how contained the story was. When you typically think about Norse mythology, you tend to think about Thor and Odin, but in 2018's God of War, we got Baldur and Thor's sons, and out of the 9 realms of Norse mythology, we only really explored 3 of them, with 2 more being restricted to side missions. But now, we're in Ragnarok, the end of the world. An end that you as Kratos caused. Can you imagine the battles that might happen in this game? Thor versus Kratos has already been teased, but so much more is on the table for this game. Odin, the World Serpent, the fire giant Surtur. Just talking about this game gets me so hyped for what might come. So, I'll keep my fingers crossed that this game actually hits in 2021.
Number 1.
I actually had a really hard time deciding what my 5th game was going to be, and that's because there are so many interesting games and IP on the horizon. Games like Gotham Knights and Hogwarts Legacy have big IP attached to them, but I have some reservations about them based on the trailers we've seen. And then there are games like Kena, Bridge of Spirits that look absolutely breathtaking, but it's tough to see what the gameplay would be like out of this brand new studio. Then there's sequels to cult classics like Psychonauts 2 that I really hope don't get delayed into next year again. But there's another sequel to a cult classic that I'm more excited for and do think will actually hit this year. No More Heroes 3 was announced at E3 in 2019 and was expected to release in 2020. Now, that obviously didn't happen, but my excitement for this game and series is still strong. The superhero aspects as well as the alien invader setup should bring us some fun battles to work our way through on Travis's rise to the top of the Galactic Assassination leaderboards when this game releases later this year. So those are the games I'm most excited for. Lots of PlayStation in there, which makes sense if you know me, but hopefully Xbox and PC can crank out a few of those unexpected indie darlings that always seem to come out of nowhere every single year. And seriously, please do leave some games down in the comments that you're excited for so that I can keep building out my list of games I need to play this year. And while we're at it, I'm also making a commitment to stream more in 2021 over on twitch.tv/ZManShow. So hopefully I'll see some of you over there and we can make fun of how much I suck at Crash Team Racing together. It's bad. I'm never going to get that platinum trophy. This year is definitely going to be an interesting one. I am hopeful, I'm excited, and I'm ready to start. Thank you so very much for watching. We'll see you next time.